You brought up a word a few times in this conversation, and it's inevitable. And you and I were talking before we started filming, and we both said there's this usual excitement of this early in the primary season that seems to be lost. Do you think this is 100% inevitable for Donald Trump to be the nominee, despite any legal issues that are following him as we get to Election Day in November?
Well, taking the legal issues aside, which is maybe a big thing, yes, I think it's inevitable. I think that the former president, first of all credit to his team, Susie Wiles and Chris Lasavita and others who have run a very disciplined campaign. It's a very organization focused campaign. The message, I think, has been very disciplined as well. The former president in his rallies, I think, has been himself. Increasingly, you see the old Donald Trump kind of coming through in kind of good ways for him. So I think the die is cast. We're looking at it's like an NFL game where a team is favored by 20 points, right? And if the team that's the underdog only loses by 8, maybe you give them some credit for not having been completely vanquished, but the win is the win.
When you're looking at the general election, a really devastating poll came out for President Biden from the Morning Consult, and it has Trump at 45% and Biden at 40%. Do you think this has any, well, I mean, we have 10 months left, so this does have wiggle room, but what does this do to Nikki Haley's argument of, hey, I'm more electable, I'm the only one that can beat Biden?
It certainly weakens it, doesn't it? I mean, you've seen poll after poll come out in the last couple of months, Brittany, where the former president is being President Joe Biden in the swing states, in almost every one of the swing states. You can say, well, could Nikki have a better margin in those swing states? Theoretically possible, right? But you can't deny the fact that the former president is looking strong. You have the Democrats and the president that are now trying to push the abortion issue and others to the forefront and trying to stop this wave. But in my opinion, I think they're playing out of the 2022 playbook and not the 24 version. And the 24 version is a referendum on where this country is and where it's going. And if you look at kind of the sense of unease a lot of Americans have about the future, that always is a burden borne by the current administration, not one that's contending to be the next administration.
That's funny you mention that, because Mitt Romney said something similar but about 2020, that running on I'm Saving Democracy January 6th isn't going to cut it in 24. So what are the issues that matter right now? Because the Biden administration is pushing that abortion issue. They had it a 1 minute, I believe 1 minute ad with a woman who had to flee Texas to have an abortion. So what's the winning issue that's resonating for Republican voters, or to get the independents or Democrats to say, hey, vote Republican?
If you talk about Republicans and independents, you're talking about the economy, independence, and increasingly to some degree, public safety. It's not just in America's cities, it's all across the land. Those three issues are issues that generally, Brittany, favor Republican contenders. And then, of course, on top of that, you have the X factor. The X factor in this one is foreign policy, where at any minute, we might see China advance against Taiwan. We might see bad developments in the Ukrainian resistance against the Russian invasion. We might see even worse developments in the Middle East. All of those favor the challenger in this case. And I think when people think about Donald Trump, they think about someone who, like him or not, has got a projection of strength. I think unless this administration is able to show the same, as opposed to going backwards to 2022, I think they have a real big task ahead of them.